Today, the 6th of August, and on the 9th of August, there'll be worldwide remembrance services for the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, who 81 years ago suffered an atomic bomb attack. Between 150,000 and 246,000 people died in those episodes. Devastation was so great that not even a decent ballpark can be given for those figures of those who died. Even today, nobody's sure why the bombs were dropped, and certainly not on those two cities in particular. Some say that the US took the opportunity of the Second World War to test their nuclear capabilities rather than any defensive or strategic move. So much so that they were the only two nuclear bombs dropped from then until even today. And today, who has the nuclear option, and how many bombs or missiles is the world playing with? Well, the good news is that the numbers are down since the Cold War, when there were 70,000 nuclear devices, mainly divided between the US and the old USSR. These days, there are around 12,000 warheads of various types, spread further and wider around the world, still enough to wipe out mankind. So where are these nuclear weapons today? Who has them and how many? Well, the US has 3,000, and these figures are estimates, okay? So the US has 3,700 operational warheads. Russia has 4,400, and both nations are breaking up 1,000 units, retiring them. Right? And they get recycled or reused in some other way. China has about 620 units, but mainly in storage. 34 of these are primed and ready to be used. So if they get attacked, they've got an immediate answer. France and the UK, they have their own nuclear missiles. France has 370 warheads, including 800 retired devices. Their bombs are mainly missiles to be launched from a submarine platform. The UK, for herself, has around 120 on its submarines, although the submarines on the whole are in dock waiting for servicing and repairs. Some of the stockpiles of nuclear bombs in the UK are beginning to cause concern as they're beginning to leak radioactive waste. So either they're stored wrongly or they're just deteriorating, which is part of the UK, I suppose. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey hold US-owned nuclear warheads. Finland is now tooling up also, as is Belarus with Russian ordnance. India and Pakistan, they have almost a couple of hundred each. North Korea is said to have around 60 warheads, which they strap onto intercontinental and ballistic missiles. And finally, Israel has around 80 or 90 devices being made up of 30 bombs and around 50 ballistic missiles. So it looks like there are only 14 nations that have their hands on the nuclear option. And in spite of them said to be saying that it is a deterrent, it's the nuclear bombs and the are a deterrent against aggression. Only North Korea, out of all of them, is not actually involved in a war somewhere. Makes you think why they have them in the first place.
Yes, okay. Well, it's always the interesting, debate. Getting to the Nagasaki and Hiroshima situation, there was going to be a third one dropped as well. That was the plan. Oddly enough, it wasn't the most devastating attack, either of them, that America ever did on Japan. They did a bombing run just before that was even more firebombs and things that was even more devastating, believe it or not, on a city, and I can't remember what it's called now. Just shows I'm not prepped up, so I don't never know what Steve's going to talk about. Beforehand, it was even more devastating with much more loss of life. the two atomic
Which
devices.
yeah, which brings you back to why they dropped them in the first place.
Well, yeah, they were brand new weapons. Yeah, they were experimental because while they dropped, the one hit the ground, the other one exploded just above. So they were trying out different delivery ideas.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what the third one would have been. In the Period War Museum in London, you actually can go and see one of the, if you like, the prototypes or one of the sister bombs of the one that dropped. It's not that big. Yeah, it's quite frightening, and that's a baby compared to what the when we say warheads, don't forget the nukes today that we talk about. They have warheads in, and it depends. They can carry 20, 15, 20, or two, or however many you want, depending on how much damage you want to do. These things split and go off different areas. It's quite frightening. The delivery. I mean, what's vital is a delivery system. Um, yeah, you don't have to drop them out of an aircraft. Yeah, you can fire them, like I say, off any platform you have, a ship or a nuclear submarine, stealthily. Um, it's I do think it was justifiable. I don't think it was an act of um a war crime that America did drop it. It's an act. It was a war against civilians, and the Japanese were bombing civilians elsewhere. So, if you're talking about was it a war crime or why was they dropped, I can understand that the sums were if we stop Japan now, we'll save X amount of lives. It was a pure arithmetic game they were playing. Nobody knew. I mean, even now you could argue the figures, and that's what war always leaves. Yep. What if we did this? What if we did this? What if we hadn't have done that? The reality is none of us really know. I think it was a in my mind, I'm clear as to why the Americans did it, and I can't condemn the Americans for dropping those two nuclear devices. As much as I don't like them, I can understand the thinking. Yeah, and yes, it was experimental. I'll give you that, and it did show the world. It scared the world, given that the Nazis just before that weren't too far away from having their own nuclear weapon as well, and that's when they put the the ships at the bottom of Telemark. Yeah. So I think that yeah, the war was moving on. If the Nazis had got it, they'd have probably had it'd be far more devastating. They'd have probably been prepared to use it. It was a strategic strike to bring the Japanese into submission. Okay. I mean, I can't justify people dying, but that's war. Okay. I'd rather we want any wars anywhere. That's the reality of it all. And now, as to belonging to the nuclear club or not belonging to the nuclear club, is Israel actually an official member? Does Israel actually officially now declare to have its own nuclear weapons?
Yes.
I didn't think they were part of it, but I know for years they denied it.
Yeah, it was only recent. It's only recent. I think it was only in 2000 when they
I think they admitted they had
declared.
I thought they said they had the capability. I didn't know they actually had their own. But
Yeah.
it's not something I look on Google every day. Yeah, I mean, we've always argued that the nuclear club are pragmatic and it's a deterrent. Conversations I've had with other Europeans have always said the reason there's been peace for so long across Europe is the nuclear deterrent. Yeah, I mean, again, I can understand that argument. If you've got weapons so horrible that nobody wants to use them, nobody will use them.
There are only 14 countries that have them.
Yeah,
right. So, but I think there's 198 countries on this planet.
Yeah. Well,
right. I don't think the other 198 countries are fighting amongst themselves that much. I mean, since the Second World War, Brazil, I don't think has.
Well, Brazil did have a nuclear program and they abandoned it for.
Yeah, but I'm saying that without a nuclear bomb, I don't think Brazil has been in any major war conflicts recently.
No. No,
not since the Second World War.
no.
In fact, I don't think any of South America have.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Oh no, the Argentines with the Falklands.
never declared a war.
No, but even so, they did fire. They did
Yeah,
sink HMS Sheffield.
well, there's sunk quite a few there. Galahad, or attack Galahad, didn't sink it, attack Galahad, and yeah. I mean, war is a horrible of conflict. It was a conflict. There was a
Okay.
difference, yeah. But yeah, anywhere that involves people dying is pretty horrendous, as we well know. Um, I'm
And of course, the Argies that went against the UK, which does have a nuclear option.
mm,
So
well,
it's almost like the nuclear option isn't really working all that well as an
I
deterrent.
believed it was discussed as an end game. Um, there was possibly action taken by the British on the Argentinian mainland, but that was conventional attacks on air airfields and sabotage and things. I believe I've read some things, but it's never been officially denied or agreed. Yeah. But having said that, yes, I mean they there was always a threat. Now, I mean, okay, that's it. How far can I push anyone before they'll push the button? Um, I would sooner these weapons didn't exist. The harsh reality is they do exist,
Yeah.
um, and you can't uninvent them. Um, Maybe you could
Well,
control
by the fact that since the Cold War, that
the
a, a,
reduction. Yes, reduction. Yeah,
a huge reduction. So yes, you
yeah.
can uninvent them.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that we've now reached this level where we've gone from being able to wipe out the world 12 times over to 7 times over. So
Yeah.
we've made progress. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay, you can't even say, well, it's only Iranian echoed, mainly in the Northern Hemisphere. Countries have them. Um, if they start firing, putting the hot fireworks everywhere, it will eventually affect the rest of the world, nuclear winters, whatever else. Yeah, it is a scary prospect. Um, yeah, it was never. I mean, in the thing, oh well, don't worry if we get attacked by Russia, we can attack Russia back. Oh, great, you know. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, the propaganda in the 80s of 70s and 80s, you build this shelter. All that was to do was to keep the bodies all in one place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and even the bunkers they built were not fit for purpose, that have had other health issues. And yeah, I mean, okay, the government come out of the ground, they come out how many other days? Yeah, the Geiger counter says it's safe to go outside now. What the hell are they going to do? There's nothing there. I mean, admittedly, in Japan, the trains were running the next day into the cities.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I'm, yeah, I do think we have to control who have them. You can't let crazy countries have them. What's the definition of a crazy country, admittedly? Yeah. America is the only country that's ever used the ultimate weapon. And don't forget, there's degrees of the phosphorus bombs leading up to nuclear weapons as well, which Russia have used, apparently in Ukraine. Unless Ukraine is doing acts of sabotage on themselves, and blame Russia. Pretty horrendous bombs suck all the oxygen out and all that horrible way to die. At least nuclear, at least if you're burnt within seconds with a nuclear weapon. Anyone that wants to see any footage, there was a TV film in the 80s called The Day After, where it does actually show very rudimentary, cheap special effects, but what the effects of a nuclear war are. And the Raymond Briggs did a comic book or a graphic novel called what was it? The Gentleman Jim was the main character in it. I forgot the name of the book now. It was in my mind a second ago. And I think the Winter War or something. And um and also, yeah, there was Threats, which was a BBC drama that's available on some of the free platforms if you want to see a nuclear attack, just to remind you how horrendous these things are. Um, you can't imagine it. And then the survivors many generations after will suffer the ill effects of it.
Of course.
And generations and defects for children and everything else. I mean, it completely alters things. I mean, if you want a reminder, as far as I know, Putin's the only leader who's actually reminded the world of what a nuclear attack could be like. Not by doing one, but by, a few years ago, he actually had the exercise in, was it Moscow? Was it St. Petersburg or Moscow? I can't remember which, where he actually had a mock attack, and people had to try and find their shelter. And it's not easy. He was reminding the world what it was all about. Whether or not you think he's what's going on in Ukraine is good or bad. Yeah. I mean, the big question is who pushes the button first? Will it be Russia in this case? Will it be America? Will it be France? Will it be the UK?
We had this. We had this in the 1980s, I think it was, when it was a false alarm, where Russia thought that the US was, or vice versa, that somebody had pushed the button, and it turned out, it was the response is, for my way of thinking, was very slow.
Well,
because once you get a smell of somebody sending a nuclear missile your way, it's to send one back straight away.
Well,
not to make phone calls to say, "Are you sure you sent me as a Russian? Are you sure you sent us a nuclear missile?"
Well, actually, there was, I think, was it by the Russian, actually quite a low-level Russian operator who sensed that something was amiss.
Yeah.
And didn't act the way they should have acted, and could have faced firing squad, I believe, because of it. But it's almost not given a hero status, but told he was a hero.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally that tense, and now we're giving it over to automation, AI, etc. Possibly.
Well, AI just went rife on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
It went rogue.
Oh AI. Yeah, where it went out to destroy another AI. Another LLM or something, large language model, or another an AI agent. I mean, if you're going to put things that are going to be self-thinking, you're going to introduce human flaws, possible, even worse than human flaws. Humans you can stop. I can physically restrain you doing something stupid. I can shoot you if I need to. I can end your I can end your existence. Because I can see you. Okay, that's a bit of extreme, but yeah, I'm not saying that I want to, but it is it's an interesting philosophical debate. Do we need nuclear weapons? Of course we don't need them. We shouldn't need them.
So much so that we haven't used them for 81 years.
Yeah, well, as you said, we're having to decommission them and replace them all the time before they become unstable. Before they become a danger within their own home country. I mean, the silos open more times than we're probably ever be told. And I know that from people I've spoken to. And again, when people have been on exercises and military people, they can't talk about it because, directly because they signed the, what do they call it? The official secret act. Yeah. The hint is that it's, there's more that we don't know about of where high alert was sent around because of the scenario you've just said, a suspicion. I mean, it's a frightening prospect. We do have to regulate who has them. Whether or not you consider the UK a sensible country to have them, America, like I said, Russia are probably pragmatic. China are probably pragmatic. France, reasonably pragmatic nation. So yeah, I mean, well, like I said, we've lived in the same mindset. I grew up in the 80s with the threat of it all happening. We got it all again now. I look out the window, I don't see a mushroom cloud.
Yeah, I don't think there's any threat of anything happening when it comes to nuclear weapons. The only scare we had, like I said, was in the 80s. I think it was the 80s.
Yeah, it's been a few more since then, but yeah, apparently, allegedly. But yeah, but yeah,
And of course, King Jong-un firing his missiles, ballistic missiles up and down.
well,
You
he's
know.
got his fireworks, but he's only got limited resources. And I think China will turn him to behave himself eventually,
Mm.
because they don't want a rogue person. I mean, the Chinese, don't forget, are sensible. They put business over anything else. The Chinese do, and if
Well,
somebody, yeah,
North Korea, like I said, they're in the list of countries that has nuclear artifacts, should we say?
yeah,
So, as his ballistic missiles can reach the same distance to
supposedly,
Europe,
yeah,
yeah,
supposedly, yeah,
well,
yeah. I mean, yeah, if you
strap one of them on.
send something up there, and yeah, I mean, okay, what's the distance the arc it can do? But yeah, and then controlling it when it comes down, where does it land? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of logistic problems, let alone get having the ability to fire the
Yeah, but I wouldn't
yeah.
say that uh, North Korea is short on technology.
No, it's not. It's capabilities. It's got intelligent people there.
There you are.
Some of the defects, okay, some of the defects occasionally, not defect. Hope not defect. But yeah, um, I mean, yeah, one thing you don't do in North Korea is stuff up because it could be the last time you ever make a mistake.